Hey guys, sorry it's taken me a bit. Hopefully somebody in the chat can let me know that everything's okay. We are still in a bad situation with the power and the internet. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully you guys are getting this. I'm got to jump back and forth here. You guys see me? Are we doing okay? Let me know in the chat, please. Somebody somewhere. Am I live? Am I live? Am I live? Am I live? Hello, hello. Okay, looks like I might be. You guys hear me okay? Everything all right? Okay. So that you see me. That's good. Question is, can you hear me? Can you hear me? I feel like, whoops. I feel like, what do you call it? Okay, good. All right. It's live and we hear you. Okay, thank you. It's kind of hard to type and do all this crap at the same time. Oh my gosh. What the hell happened? I'm serious. We were all set up to do a red wave and it died. It's like it stayed in Florida, but then it died. I don't know. I honestly, I seriously think that people, especially the younger kids, the younger folks, they're not voting on the issues. They're voting on whoever they recognize in terms of a name. That's who they're voting for. Because there were several people that honestly never should have been close to office. By the way, I mean, Fetterman, as an example, never should be in office. The man is apparently really the man needs to work on his health. That's what he needs. But I just don't know. People, I know that several years ago I did kind of a straw poll, so we'll just call this anecdotal data, but I did a straw poll and of my workplace, and most people, they didn't spend time looking at the issues. They didn't spend time, whatever they read and made their decision was based off of the pamphlet, the voters pamphlet that got sent out. And, I don't think that has changed much. I think that people are not paying attention because, frankly, they might be tired. And especially the young people, they just want free handouts. They don't really care about anything else in terms of the issues. They just don't care. And so, I can't even believe some of the things that have been happening. I mean, Arizona, Maricopa County immediately was saying 1 in 5, so 20% of their machines weren't working. And then you had Pennsylvania, where Pennsylvania called out and said, you know what, it's going to take us weeks to figure out what's going on. And now all of a sudden they call it for Fetterman within 24 hours. When, 2-3 days ahead, they were saying that they were going to have issues And I honestly, folks, I don't know what to say. I really don't. It's a extremely sad situation here. In terms of, I don't know where these people came from. I really don't. I mean, even here in Washington State, we had Patty Murray set up to potentially lose against Tiffany Smiley. I mean, it was within the margin of error on the polling. Now, keep in mind, I don't necessarily trust the polls. I don't watch the polls. I use them as an indicator, but not as a full-on thing. But it boggles my mind that these people, they came out of the woodwork, and I don't even think, I haven't checked the polls yet because obviously I have troubles getting to the internet and stuff like that, but I think it was almost like a 60-40 split with Patty Murray and Tiffany Smiley, and that definitely was not what it was heading into the election. Now, keep in mind, I consistently maintain since the Rossi versus Gregoire incident, which, for those of you that don't know, Dino Rossi was the Republican. He went up against Christine Gregoire, who was the incumbent Democrat governor. This was, 20 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. Actually, it might have even been less than that. But anyway, they had a close race. And so but Rossi on the first count came out on top. They had a recount. And before the recount, there were messages coming out. Oh, we found ballots in some cabinet somewhere. Oh, somebody forgot to take them out of their trunk, and so we found ballots here. And so they went ahead and they did a recount. And that second recount, still, Rossi won. Oh, well, we're going to go ahead and recount it a third time. And then again, oh, wait, we found a bag of ballots. We found this, we found that. And next thing you know, the third recount, which they accepted, by the way, went to Christine Gregoire. I don't know how anybody can look at that and say, was that really fair? And I honestly believe that ever since then, Washington has been the proving ground for any of their specialty kinds of things that they do, in terms of across the United States. So yeah, it's really, really tough. And I don't understand what's happening and why. But hey, at least those of you in Florida, y'all got a landslide of a governor re-up for election. Now, this is part of where I think a lot of the Democrats are like hoping that he will only serve 2 terms and then jump in for president in 2024. I'm sorry, 2 years of his 4-year term. I don't want that. I actually want him to stay out of it, because I think that if you end up putting forth Trump, and keep in mind, the reason for that, for the Dems really pushing for that, and I'm sorry, I'm blocking my own light. The reason for the Dems pushing for that, by the way, I think is because of the fact that they want to split the Republican Party down the middle, because they have the belief that if Trump runs and if DeSantis runs, you're going to end up with a split party and then a demoralizing scenario. This is why the third party system in America doesn't work, because you end up, regardless of which side of the party you're in, you end up with splitting either the Democrats or taking away from some of the Democrats, or if it's an independent who happens to be a Democrat, by the way, or if it's a independent that leans more Republican and is more conservative, then you pull away votes from the Republican. And so this is why we here in America can't have anything more than the two-party system, because of the way that we have winner take all. There is no mathematical calculation that you can make to make it so that two Republicans can split the votes and still win. There's no way. And so this, I think, is why the left really wants to push the Trump-DeSantis route. Now, right now, the Senate, last I had heard, was in essentially in contention, that we may end up still with a 50-50 split in the Senate. I know that the Raphael Warnock, Herschel Walker scenario in Georgia is headed for a recount because neither one of the candidates actually garnered a total of 50% of the vote. Now, I don't understand how you can have two people on a ballot and not one of them garner 50% of the vote. I mean, mathematically speaking, it's impossible because either one's going to get more than the other, unless they went through and like struck a bunch of the ballots and took them out. But realistically, I just can't see this being any way, shape, or form for the for the Republicans, any kind of a positive outlook other than Florida, because Florida looked like a total tsunami. I mean, Miami-Dade flipping. Miami-Dade is traditionally a Democrat county. And so for it to have flipped and gone red for DeSantis is just an amazing feat in and of itself. So if you live in Florida, as I know many of my Whiskey Warriors do, congratulations. I know Mark Kay and Hannah Gile were at Kat Kamek's victory party last night. I've seen the posts on Facebook when I could, things like that. So I have seen some victories, and we can take some victories out of this. There were some, like J.D. Vance got in over the Democrat, but unfortunately, I don't know if it's going to be enough. A lot is now riding on Arizona and Georgia, big time, and unfortunately, it was riding on Pennsylvania. But that being the case, so I'm looking at some of the chats here. I know things are running a little slow for me. So yeah, the Green Party split the vote in Georgia, according to Outlaw Dogs. Yeah, there is something fishy about this Trump-DeSantis BS. I agree, there is. But, they keep pushing it. The Dems and the media really keep pushing that whole war. And again, I think their ultimate reasoning for that is to try and make it so that the Republicans end up getting split. Because I know there's a lot of people, if given the choice between Trump and DeSantis, if you had no other choice, they will split and go to DeSantis and not Trump. I personally think that DeSantis should just move out of the way. Just admit right now, just say, look, I'm going to be here in Florida for 4 years, period. That would be a good thing, I think, for the Republican Party. I also know that Trump has an announcement, I've been hearing through the grapevine, on November 15th from Mar-a-Lago. I'm going to hazard a guess that that is likely to be his announcement for running in 2024. Remember, he had to wait until after the midterm election, or the Republican Party wasn't going to foot his attorney's fees for all of the lawsuits that he's had to undergo. So realistically, I would imagine that it will probably be an announcement. And, you know, I've been telling a friend of mine, well, you guys know him, Steve Stiles. I talked to him the other day, and I basically told him, I said, look, regardless of what happens, if Trump announces on the 15th, as much as I think he deserves a second shot at the White House, because of the way that it was essentially taken from him by the suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop, that I believe is the top single reason why we ended up with Biden, is because people did not know about the Biden corruption. That being said, Trump announcing on November 15th, there should not be another single Republican candidate, period. They should all allow him to just go, do his 4 years, and then he's done. He will not be able to run again. And so, you know, if you look at it from a strategic perspective, if he runs in 2024 and then loses, he'll run again in 2028 if his health allows him to. So I pretty much think, as far as a strategic advantage goes to him, because this kind of will be his last shot, his last hurrah. And so, you know, let him go. Don't oppose him. I mean, Liz Cheney has already said she's going to oppose him. She wants to oppose him. She's a freaking idiot for doing so. I'm just telling you that right now. She is a complete moron for doing so. Okay? However, that being said, and April, real quick in the chat, April says, we ended up with Biden because of the machines. Most important issue. Look, if there is 100% irrefutable proof of that, then I think that we would have a much bigger case in court over something like that. Yes, there's stuff out there. I'm going to disagree with you only from the standpoint of there is stuff out there, but unfortunately they were able to get rid of whatever proof might be there. And so to go back and try to take that out, I think is going to be a problem. And again, the Constitution seriously states that the states, it says that the states are, and their legislatures are the ones in control of the election system. So unless each individual state goes through and does a full revamp and gets rid of all of their laws and everything in their current form and change it over, I mean, that's maybe a handful out of 50 that's going to do that. So while I agree wholeheartedly, unless there is somebody out there who has 100% irrefutable proof that can hold up in a court of law, that can be taken to a court, and that you have someone who has standing, meaning that they've been wronged by what's being alleged, and so on and so forth. I really don't think that you're going to be able to go back. Okay, so let me point out what standing is. I'm kind of jumping all over because I'm not really all that organized right now, and I apologize for that. But let me explain what legal standing is. There's basically three pieces to legal standing. One, you have to allege, essentially, and have the court understand that you, as the injured party, were injured because the other party did something that was illegal. Secondly, because of what they did, you, again, retained injury. So you have to prove that they did something illegal, and then you have to show that their illegal action caused you injury. So that's two parts. The last part, which a lot of people kind of miss in terms of having standing in court, is that the resolution, whatever the court comes to as a resolution, has to be, how do I say this? Has to be in a way that the court can actually create a resolution for the problem. If the court can't create the resolution for the problem, then they essentially basically say that you have no standing. And so this is essentially what having standing, and this is part of the reason why a lot of the lawsuits in 2020 never went anywhere, because of the fact that it was kind of questionable as to whether or not, first of all, was the injured party actually injured, by this action, and the injury has to be corrected, and can the court correct it? So because of that, they threw out a lot of the lawsuits over standing. And those are the three parts that are taken into account in order to understand that somebody has standing in the court. And it was kind of hard for some of these places like Texas to be able to prove that because Pennsylvania screwed up and it was suing Pennsylvania for Pennsylvania's screw-ups, that the election being screwed up in Pennsylvania actually wronged Texas. Now, to the average person, yes, that makes sense, because you're looking at, okay, the number of ballots and, the number of electors, and the electors changed and blah, blah, blah. But in the eyes of the court, the shenanigans that happen in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and everywhere else don't necessarily negate Texas. Yes, they took away from the final result from all 50 states. But again, that's the point that the court kind of made. And so that's why they, having an issue. Now, 3 Chevy, yes, I am still having power and internet issues, just to catch everybody up. Ironically, when we were leaving to come to this remote location, we did actually see the crew working on the lines, the power crew working on the lines in front. So in front of the house or down the street from the house. So hopefully by the time we go back, there might be some positives there, but I know that they have to rerun the lines, because like I said, the lines were completely taken out. So anyway, all right. Okay. So, Redford brings up a good point here. Redford says, in 2024, can it be Trump for president and DeSantis for VP, and then DeSantis run for president for the next 2 terms? According to the Constitution, yes. That is exactly what could happen. However, I honestly don't think that DeSantis would necessarily accept being vice president to Donald Trump. If you think of it this way, they're both alpha males. And I honestly don't know. I mean, they say that they're good friends, but I honestly don't know how long that would last. Because if you don't do what Trump tells you to do, Trump just runs over you. I mean, he just flattens you out. That's just the way that he is, which is why he pisses so many people off. But the fact of the matter is that I'm not exactly sure that DeSantis would be willing to drop governorship in Florida to run as VP in 2024. because if he gets elected in 2024, he has to leave the governorship. That's how he ended up with Carter, because Carter was in Georgia, was the governor of Georgia, and he basically took 2 years of his being governor and ran for president. And so that's essentially how that would work. So, so I don't know 100% if that's going to be the same situation as far as how that goes. This entire thing kind of sets things up. I actually think that a lot of the discussion between the Trump DeSantis tickets is actually being fueled by the mainstream media, which we all know is a Democrat-run organization. So that being said, I wouldn't necessarily take it to heart, because even though DeSantis never actually said during I think it was during a debate, one of the questions that came up was, can you tell us right now that you'll be here for 4 years? And DeSantis actually didn't really answer it. I honestly think that he did, but he didn't answer it in a flat out yes or no. What he said was that the only Democrat or old donkey that he was planning on retiring was Charlie Crist. So the possibility is there that he still runs in 2024. That's the possibility. We'll see if it actually happens. Now, let me take a look here in some of the chat. Let me see if I'm going to hop on over and see if it's one of these other ones. Yeah, we do have. Okay. Oh, Palm Beach also flipped. Looks like I've got some people in here. That's sweet. Thank you all for joining. I apologize. And yes, I am on Rumble. It is over there. If you're interested in going to Rumble, let me get the Rumble key. So the Rumble line. So if you're interested, here is the Rumble link. Oops. Yeah. It's kind of hard working on a laptop in your truck. Just going to tell you that right now. But I am so happy that you guys are here. I really am. I do appreciate this. You guys don't realize what kind of withdrawals I've been having. I mean, not having internet, not being able to be on the be in the Mark K chat, and then also not being able to stream to you guys and provide my normal quality streams where I'm fully set up and ready to go and all that stuff. I just, I feel bad about it, but I appreciate all of you guys coming here and hey, I want to give a shout out just because I see her over in the Rumble chat. I want to give a shout out to Daybreak 3. Day, I've been thinking a lot about you because I haven't seen you around, neither here nor in the other chat. So I'm glad to see you. Good to see you here. I just want to make sure that I say that to you guys, and of course I say it to all my Whiskey Warriors. But yeah, this situation, I'm going to tell you, has honestly, my wife is done. I mean, she is done. She is completely done with this. She's done with the power. Just to give you kind of a sense of the situation, I have a backup generator that keeps our refrigerator and our freezer and some incidentals running. Okay. And I have plans to set up an entire generator backup system. My biggest problem right now, of course, is backup internet. I don't have a backup internet connection, but eventually I'm going to get that in place because of the fact, believe it or not, a lot has to deal because of you guys, because I want to be able to stream every single Wednesday and every single Saturday for you. And so I'm attempting to get that done, but it's going to take some time for that to happen. And, so I appreciate your patience and willingness to wait for that to come along. And Dave's been a working poll watcher. Nice. Very nice. Oh my gosh, Outlaw Dogs, thank you for putting that in the chat. Are you serious? I missed J Money won again in trivia. Wow. Oh, wow. That's awesome. Jay's starting to hopefully come into his own so he can challenge Mark. That is great. Thank you for that update. I do appreciate that. All right, so where do we go from here? Well, obviously, we've got to wait until we figure out the Senate. I think the House last count was headed toward being Republican, which will help, to be honest, because the House handles the purse strings. But as far as the Senate, I think even if we had a minor majority, even if we happen to win at 51, I think that's better than just being split at 50. However, it also causes us some challenges because we won't be able to do, overriding vetoes of, or the override the veto of Biden. So we're still kind of stuck with that. And we certainly wouldn't be able to necessarily impeach him, which I'm not entirely sure that would be a good thing, impeaching him now, just because of the fact that we really are on a thin majority. That being said, though, the next couple of years are really going to be kind of telling in terms of what's going on. And unfortunately, again, we're back in that same situation because of the whole election potential debacles that's been going on. We're still in the same situation. I mean, there's been some funny business. Pennsylvania saying that they can't count ballots in a day, yet for some damn reason, Florida seems to be able to count them in 8 hours and get their results right away. So, Ron DeSantis is in Florida itself is really the pattern to go after. And I would highly encourage, if I had the opportunity to talk to some of these people, I would highly encourage the Republicans to run the same general framework campaign as what DeSantis did. Because DeSantis really crushed everything. He really did. And so, that's fine. So LM Myers is asking me here in the Rumble chat, Whiskey, do you think there were some shenanigans in Arizona and Pennsylvania? I whether or not they were caused, I don't 100% know, but I can tell you for a fact that there were some issues in Arizona in particular. And so, the whole Maricopa County having 20% of their machines not functional, I'm still trying to figure out how they can do that, because during the off season, they should be testing, they should be upgrading, they should be testing everything and making sure it all works. I mean, I'm just, it's kind of troubling to even think about that these people are doing what they're doing. And then on top of that, Katie Hobbs being the Secretary of State and not recusing herself from being in charge of stuff, that sounds to me like a conflict of interest. It'll be very interesting to see if Kari Lake is to lose, because I know they're still in a heated battle. But if Kari Lake is to lose, I don't expect Kari to take that lying down. I honestly don't. And I think that she might have a case, especially for Katie Hobbs not stepping down, or at least reportedly not stepping down. So I really think that's going to be a bit of a challenge. It's going to be fun to kind of watch. So we're really not going to know 100%, especially with the Senate being split evenly until Georgia is taken care of. And Georgia's runoff, I've heard, is either the end part of November or early December. So we're probably not going to know realistically until Christmas who finally ends up in control of the Senate, which really honestly kind of sucks. Just to put it out there. Okay. Let's see what else. So I just want to throw this out there. Let me just take a second. I'm going to take a break for a moment and do kind of an ad. As you can see, I am in my Whiskey Musings, one of my Whiskey Musings sweatshirts. I would encourage, if you want to, go out to the Whiskey Musings store at store.whiskeymusings.online. Not very original. Store.whiskeymusings.online. And when you go to checkout, put in promo code Christmas. That's capitals, all caps, Christmas. And you'll receive free shipping from me from now until Christmas Eve. So again, go to store.whiskeymusings.online. It's got to be .online. And all lowercase, all one word for everything. So store.whiskeymusings.online. And put in the promo code Christmas, all capital letters, and you'll get free shipping on all Whiskey Musings logoed gear. I mean, I wear this thing all the time. I really do. I love the jogger pants that are there. I've got a pair of those. And honestly, when I got that, the logo was so crisp and clear. It was just so great. Go ahead and get yourself a pair. I know a couple other Whiskey Warriors have picked up some stuff. I think Day has picked up jogging pants and says they're just incredibly comfortable. So, and I know Hannah got a pair of the jogging pants, although she's still in her weight loss mode, so she doesn't think they fit quite yet, but they're on their way. And so, yeah, so there you go. All right. Oh, Lucifer the cat turned 11 on yesterday, according to Outlaw Dogs. If you remember Lucifer was one of the pet of the week here not too long ago, with Sir Legs-a-Lot, which sadly has passed. But Lucifer, congratulations, happy birthday for making it to 11. That's awesome. All right, what do we have coming up? So let's take our focus away from yesterday. I mean, yesterday was pretty much of a bummer. And honestly, you know what? I've got to tell you. So this entire situation has been a bit of a conundrum for me. I mean, we've got some of our preparedness for this, but we really weren't expecting to be out this long. I mean, the longest that we've ever been without power up until this point has been 3 days. And usually it goes by very quickly. But in this particular case, with the lines being actually torn down, which, by the way, even if we get power back, I still don't know about the internet. But in terms of this wearing down on me yesterday, hearing some of the things that came out, I mean, at first, obviously, Ron DeSantis' win was awesome. Some of the other wins, J.D. Vance's win, that was awesome too. But then when I started looking at some of the other things, and now looking at some of the headlines where they're talking about the red wave has ran into a blue wall and all of that stuff, it's a little disappointing. And so I'll be honest with you. I woke up this morning and I was feeling a little disheartened about things. But I worked on a project today. I'll just go ahead and throw it out there. My wife has a 2010 Mini Cooper. And this thing, first of all, don't ever buy one. I'm just going to tell you right now. They look like they're fun cars and everything, but they are a complete pain in the ass to work on. I know I said ass. But anyway, this thing, we've had it. My son drove it for probably about a year or so. And, he ended up to where the clutch went out. And because the clutch went out, we decided, I mean, they wanted at the at the repair shop, they wanted something like $3,500 to $5,000, I think was what it was. And I just said, no, I'm not going to do that. I can't pay that much, especially not all at once. And so we undertook, my son and I undertook it ourselves. Now, typically that wouldn't be much of a problem, but these things, in order to get the transmission out, and I'm sorry, this is car talk, and I know there may not be a lot of people. I promise, trust me, hang on for just a couple of seconds. So, you have to literally take the car apart in order to get the transmission out. Well, we did that, and unfortunately, my son did, proud papa, he did this all on his own. He undertook the project himself, not being a car guy. He started working on cars because he was like, hey, I just want to see if I want to work on cars. And so he undertook the project himself. We put it all back together, and unfortunately, he put the clutch in backwards. Didn't find that out until later. So this thing's been sitting around for probably about a year and a half, almost 2 years, this project has. Well, I decided today, because it was a sunny day, there was no rain, barely any wind. It was really cold though. I just decided to go ahead and undertake the car, because we got the clutch put back in, and then the alternator was showing that it was failing. And so I undertook changing out the alternator myself, and I actually got a win. I got a win because the alternator went in, and the car quit complaining, and I actually was able to drive the car and move it around the property. It doesn't have tabs on it right now, so I've got to go and get those. But I needed a win. I needed a win because of what happened yesterday, and because of what's been happening to the family for the last 4 or 5 days. And you guys gave me a win on Saturday night by coming in and doing the remote stream. You guys gave me that win on Saturday, and today I got the win with the Mini, and I got you guys again on a remote stream. So I just want to tell you, there's things in life that you have to be thankful for, and stuff that you can control, stuff that you can't. The stuff that you can control is the important stuff. The stuff that you can't, you got to let it go. And so unfortunately right now, with the way the elections are, that's something that we necessarily can't control. But, Buddy is saying we won an election too. Well, not as much of a landslide as what we thought we were going to get, I don't think. But hey, you got, Buddy Weiser's been pushing Ted Budd for Senate, and I'm glad that he won as well. I forgot about that. I'm glad you're in here. So Ted Budd made it in the Senate. That's awesome. Congratulations for you guys. Really hope that goes. But we got to chalk up our wins, and we got to chalk up the wins that we get, and they might be little ones, but we got to chalk them up. And it's not just in politics, it's in everyday life. Because if you don't sit and count your wins, so for an example, we've been without power, but I've been able to pay for, propane to run the generator. So we've had limited power. We've had to take cold showers. But the fact is, there are some people in our situation, out where I live, that don't even have water running right now because they don't have power to run their pumps. And so you got to take the little things. You got to take the little wins. That's what we need to do every day. We've got to be grateful for the things that we have and not focus on some of the things that we don't. And yes, Nancy has to give up the gavel now. Now, toward that end, I've seen articles talking about McCarthy not having enough votes to become the Speaker of the House. And I don't think that would be a bad idea. I think they need to go with some new blood, personally. But honestly, as far as that goes, we still have to kind of it remains a little bit to be seen who's going to be the Speaker of the House. I would have loved to seen a complete red wave. I would have loved to seen a red tsunami, actually, I should say. Not just a red wave, but a red tsunami. And unfortunately, we didn't get it. But at the same time, though, we did get little wins. We got Ted Budd. We got Ron DeSantis reelected. We got Kristi Noem, I heard, got reelected. So there are some wins in there, and we got to take a look at those little wins as far as that goes. And we'll get them next time. Maybe the messaging wasn't quite clear. But I hope that some of these Republicans will take notes off of what Ron DeSantis did for his reelection bid. And realistically, we've got to get some really quality candidates because, Ron DeSantis stands out. He is the super governor of Florida. He's the super governor of the United States. Ben Shapiro loves him. Dan Bongino loves him. Mark Kaye loves him. I love him. I would follow him into battle any day of the week and twice on Sundays if we were, back in the thick of it again. But that being said, he ran a strategically positive campaign, and he did so with the actual conservative agenda that all Republicans should be going after. And he did it so expertly that they should have been taking notes and be like, you know what, next year, next time, next election cycle, this is what we're going to do. That's how we're going to take back America, is by following, believe it or not, Ron DeSantis' lead. And I've heard that Trump has been a little negative about DeSantis for the time being, which, it's not unexpected. Like I said, like I've said before, Trump's a wrecking ball. He's a great president, candidate for president. I'm a little hesitant about his personal life, but he's a wrecking ball. If he doesn't like stuff, he's just going to destroy it. And so, yeah. Looking at this, let's see. Lake will win. Walker will win. Buddy is very, very positive here. Steve Scalise is going to try I'm guessing Steve Scalise is going to try for Speaker of the House. Is that what I'm hearing? If that's the case, he'd be a very good pick. Very good pick. And let me hop on over let me just check out. I don't want to leave my Facebook people. Oh, somebody said, some of my best videos are done in my car. Yeah, well, this is not my usual forte, guys. I've been forced into a remote situation. Everybody knows power and internet being down. I'm just happy that I'm able to come and talk to you guys, even though it is in a very less than ideal situation. I'm just very thankful for you guys to show up. Speaking of thankful, Wednesday before Thanksgiving, okay? So Wednesday before Thanksgiving, I am planning on opening up the phone lines for you guys to call me and tell me what you're thankful for. So I'm going to bring my phone line back for a special occasion, and I want you guys to be thinking about that. So I want to hear from all of my Whiskey Warriors on, I believe it's the 23rd of November. It'll be the Wednesday night broadcast. God willing, I'll be able to do it. But the 23rd of November, I'll be bringing the phone number back, and you guys can call in and tell me what you're thankful for. Also, coming up, just thinking about that. So I've been kind of running this a little off the cuff. I mean, I plan for it, maybe that day or whatever, but my wife has finally told me, she's like, you have got to get a little more organized. So she went out and she got a planner for me. So now I've got a planner. Hopefully I'm going to get used to using it and be able to plan some things out. Saturday, again, provided that everything comes through, but Saturday will be my Veterans Day special. So come back for that Saturday. Remember, Saturday's stream is an hour later than normal, so that one goes at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. But that one's going to be a Veterans Day celebration. Gotta salute our vets. They have done and given so much for so little, honestly, in this country. We've got to salute them. We've got to let them know how we feel about them. Oh yes, Tommy Young over on Facebook. Hey, welcome. Thank you. I saw you follow me and I appreciate that, but he's right. We're grateful in Texas because Beto got the big brute. Beto lost 3 times. Okay. Stacey Abrams has lost twice. Those, you know what? Thank you. Those are good celebrations. Those are definitely good celebrations right there. That is phenomenal. Oh, sorry, Tommy. She's a woman. Tommy's a woman. Go figure. Hey, you know what? Tommy Laren. She's a woman too. I'm sorry. I apologize. Thank you. I will remember that now. I will remember that. Okay. So let's see. What else do we have here? I'm going to pop back over to Rumble real quick here. And, I got to scroll down a little bit. Oh, there we go. All right. Yes. So that being said, Saturday is going to be my Veterans Day special. Then we'll have a Wednesday in between, but then the 19th, Saturday the 19th, get your recipe books out because I'm going to have my buddy, Amateur Chef. He's been on this before. We've done this 3 years. This will be 3 years in a row. And if you hear a little snuffling, that's the puppy back here. I don't know if you probably can't see him, but he's back in the back, Angus back there. But the 19th will be my Thanksgiving recipe special. So we'll have recipes. I'm trying to get Barbie's buns video, and I'm hoping to have that recipe written down for everybody, but I know I want to showcase that. And so that's coming on the 19th. So on the 19th of November, that's going to be the Thanksgiving Day special. And then again, the following 23rd, the following Wednesday, will be the call-in to tell me what you're thankful for. I'm looking forward to both of those for that. Let's see. So Outlaw Dog says, hi, Angus. Yeah. I don't know. Is he even... he decided to lay back down. Anyway. Okay. So yes, I am going to try and get Barbie's buns, get the recipe, at least get where the video is at and point it to it. And no, Mama Whiskey is actually not in the truck with me. She is doing her job right now. And she said it was going to take a little while. So she was like, hey, this will be perfect. You can do your show and I will just go and take care of everything. So I don't know. She might pop in. She may not. Depends on how long I stream here. Let's see. How far am I going? Okay, I'm coming on to the hour mark. So we'll see what we got going. But okay, so you guys know about the upcoming shows. You know about... so you know about all the upcoming shows. I've already told you about the Whiskey Musings store and the code, and that very much appreciative there for that. And again, I do really, really thank you all for showing up and being patient with me while I work through this and get everything set up. Hopefully Saturday we'll be able to go back to the normal. What's this? Amy, I'm not going to actually show. So Amy asked over on Rumble, Amy asks if you show a video of Barbie's buns, won't you get kicked off of Facebook and YouTube? If they were her actual buns, yeah. But they're cinnamon rolls. Amy, they're cinnamon rolls. Yeah. Oh, yeah, they want to bring back Mama Whiskey. Okay. Yeah, well, I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to try and bring her in. She's just, she's off doing her thing. So, but I've already told her that she needs to make more of an appearance. And hey, my mom supposedly we're scheduling some time at Christmas or right before Christmas. So you guys might be lucky enough. I might be able to convince my mom to come on a broadcast with me in December. Would you guys like that? I mean, we already see Barbie and hear about Barbie from Hannah, but Hannah's also a lot younger than I am. So, there you go. But, let me know if you want to see, we'll see about maybe get my mom on or whatever. Okay. So let's see. Oh, Daybreak asks, what happened to Lose Power? Been busy. Okay, so Day, let me catch you up real quick. So Friday night, last Friday night, we had an incredible windstorm. And honestly, it's probably not one of the strongest winds, but one of the things that happens here in the Northwest is that in September and October, we typically have what we call an Indian summer. And so what ends up happening is it gets very dry and very warm. Well, then all of a sudden in November, it's like a flip switches or a switch flips, and we end up getting like torrential rain pours. Well, we have fir trees up here, and fir trees, they don't have like a lot of deciduous trees up in the Northeast and stuff like that, like your aspens and your alders and that kind of stuff. They don't have what's called a taproot, which goes, straight down into the ground and helps hold the tree up. Instead, the fir has a root ball at the bottom. And so when the soil gets saturated with all of that rain, they become very susceptible to falling over. Well, we're talking, trees that are 60, 100 feet high in some cases. And when the wind hits them just right, and there she is. Here's Mama Whiskey. But when the trees get hit with the wind, especially gale force winds, like what we had, they tend to topple. And I mean, they take the entire root ball with them and they fall over. Well, these trees are also very, very heavy. And so, they take out, oh, that's fine. They take out, power lines and everything else. And so that's what happened. Was Friday night we had really bad windstorms, and it took out all of our power. Oops. So that essentially is what happened. And so because of that, we've lost power. Like I said, this is the longest time that we've been out ever since we've lived in our place, or lived the studio, has been there in the last 20 years. So anyway, I guess, Outlaw Dog saw Angus. Well, that's cool. And yes, he does. He looks a lot like Billy, their kid, or Billy the kid. Everybody says hi, by the way.
Hello.
So they're all saying hi, Mama. Hi, Mama Whiskey Musings. Yeah, she keeps me straight, guys. She really does. Oh wow, we got cop or something going by. Anyway, all right. Let me pop over here. And yes, Tommy, we are trying to keep our spirits up for sure. We're trying to handle things as best we can here where we're at. So yeah. All right. Well, guys, I think that's pretty much about everything that I wanted to talk about. So I think that's going to do it for tonight. Again, I appreciate your patience in getting here and allowing me to just sort of ramble on about all kinds of different things. But do me a favor, if this is your first time here, go and check out my other videos, because believe me, this is not the norm. So you can go and check out my other videos. Go over to Rumble, especially rumble.com, and check out the Whiskey Musings Broadcast channel. And if this is your first time and you like what I do and you're liking what you're hearing from me, head on over to Rumble and subscribe for me. You can subscribe on YouTube and Facebook, but to be honest with you, I don't know how long I'm going to be there because, of course, they might cancel me tomorrow. But anyway, head on over to Rumble, because Rumble is a free speech alternative to YouTube. And we'll see you on Saturday for the Veterans Day special, even though Veterans Day is on Friday. And hey, if you happen to see a veteran or somebody who you know is a veteran on Friday, do me a favor and at least thank them for their service. I know a lot of them don't really like it because a lot of them did it for their own reasons, just like myself and Jay Monty and a few others. We kind of feel funny when people say thank you because we did it for our own reasons. But at the same time, it also makes us feel at least a little appreciated in comparison to like when people came back from Vietnam, as an example. But anyway, do me a favor and go and say, thank you to a vet when you get the chance. And yes, buddy, I know we won last night. I got it. All right. We will see you on Saturday. Don't miss it. 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on all my outlets. And hopefully I'll be doing it from the studio and we won't have to deal with some of these remotes again. But thank you all for joining. We'll see you next time on the Whiskey Musings Broadcast. You want to say goodnight?
Good night.
Yeah. She says goodnight, everybody.